unlocking the drivers for investors' requirements in renewable energy projects.
Mhm.
Hello, my name is Paul Raftery, and I'm the CEO of Projects RH, and I'm in Sydney
Mhm.
today. I'm joined by Mrs. Dung Latunda in London. Dung is the director of Phoenix Ubervaz Limited, with special responsibility for energy projects. She is in London and is mandated by a number of firms to secure property and other assets for the funds and for private high net worth individuals. Dung was born in Vietnam and educated in Paris, where she completed her master's degree in business and administration at the Sorbonne. After living many years in Paris, and after COVID-19, she and her husband moved to London. Dung and I were introduced to each other by Jean-Michel Floch of Floch International, who spends most of his time between Shanghai and Sydney. Jean-Michel works with us on a number of our projects. Dung and I have been sourcing green energy projects for her investor community for several months. During this time, we've developed some sourcing principles. Hopefully, by sharing these principles, we believe that projects can be more effectively financed. Dung commenced her career with Deloitte Touche in France before moving into international property, infrastructure assets, telecommunications, and sourcing of investments and products. Today, Dung has a wide portfolio of activities, and today she will share with us the guidelines for green energy investments based on her mandates. Welcome, Dung.
Yes, it will be a pleasure to meet you today, Paul.
Thank you. Could you give us a brief overview of what you believe investors are looking for in an energy investment? At Projects RH, we do a lot of modeling and we produce commentary. But essentially, we need to know what investors want so that we can communicate the materials that they need to know. Today, I'd like you to speak in generalities, reflecting on common themes. I was surprised when you said, I guess what we needed was A-class assets in A-class countries. And you responded, not necessarily. So
Mhm.
with that start, can we sort of try and get some basics together? What's the investment size that investors are looking for? What's the nameplate capacity they're looking for? What stage in the development of the project are they keen on? And are there any location constraints? Dung, what do
Mhm.
you think the key points are?
Okay. All the basic parameters of an investment which we look at is it is at least 100 millions of dollars. It has a nameplate capacity of 100 megawatts and it is construction ready. Which means one of my investors will invest in greenfield project. Naturally, some investor require more, but it is the baseline. Most investors understand that the work does not consist simply of a class countries, but focus more on the class opportunities. Investor has generally the advantage with respect to return on investment and return on equity. In the current market, investors are going to be looking for at least 14% of return on investment. Sometimes less. It depends. And one certainty that they can get their funds out of the country which they are invested in which they are invested. Investors are generally neutral, cheap political parties and do not wish to be involved in local politics. Nevertheless, they are concerned about governments who wish to nationalize their assets. The greater concern lies in the natural advantage of a country in the energy source they wish to gain the benefit of. For example, a solar project is more likely to be successful towards the equator. That does not mean a settle project in the United Kingdom. For example, will not be successful equally whilst there are some concerns about the environmental implication of building dams, river, and style hydro projects are popular, but investors are looking for rivers which run most of the year on dammed hydro projects, for the dams already exist on the river system. Most investors are pragmatic. They are looking for a good project in a good location where there will be no surprise and where any tax agreement they enter into will be honored by successive governments. It's normal.
Darling, we talk about a lot of projects. Do your investors have any particular type of project they prefer? Do they prefer wind over solar or river hydro? What do you see as their preferred type of investment?
So, I think that like human beings, investors have a number of priorities and when often wish to have a balanced portfolio, even though they are focused, say, in the energy sector. They are not looking to have all the investment in one country, in one form after renewable energy source. I wish to be clear, and they do not. I have I have mandates from. I am not investing in new fossil fuel projects, and they do include in these blue hydrogen, which they see as extending in use the fossil fuels. Wise, most of our investors are not seeing the news of gas speaking as running long beyond 2050. Therefore, each day, making an investment more and more questionable. I know you are personally a supporter of gas speaking and act that it is allowed by convention to until 2050. That you further argue that it would pay for itself within 15 years. But most of my investors would accept this, but they are simply not interested in investing in fossil fuels as it is generally against the mandate of their personal principles. I would say that the personal principles, few of the founders and partners of the major energy investment is critical in the investment decision principles. We see the principles being driven by economic system designed to protect the environment, as I see it, not just for themselves, but for future generations. And must see that their funds are mandated to protect and look after the community from which they are received and on which they are meant to benefit. We are now seeing this also with private funds and foundations which have very strict views toward. It's
Thank you, Dan. Dan, what do you think are the most popular areas? Though if you don't have favourites, you must have the ones that they say, I want something. So They're looking for solar. What do you think the top areas they're looking for?
They are looking, for example, solar first. The second is wind, offshore. But I think now people are more focusing on onshore wind because they know that the offshore have caused some damage to birds and so on. And the third uh, investment is waste to energy. The fourth is hydrogen, and the fifth is hydropower, and the sixth is transport fuel. Uh, for, and the seventh, in my own opinion, is the new port terminals and storage facilities for hydrogen bunkers. In my opinion.
It all makes sense. Now, solar being the first, it's not a great surprise, but are there any key features they're looking for in a solar project?
Solar may be well established, but surprisingly, there are fewer sites why you can build a suitable array for 100 megawatts close to a city. It is important to remember that you need about 60 hectares of floodland, not escape flood. It is important also to remember once is given the nameplate of 100 megawatts, that is not what is going to be dispatched, and that it will end the dispatch for about 9 hours a day. So most solar power projects either need battery storage or complementary base load power to make them economically efficient to support the grid. Solar by itself is not going to be base low power. We are seeing a lot of demand for solar to make hydrogen. And the key thing about hydrogen is you can turn the machine off and on as the power become available at the right price. Many of the best opportunities for solar lie in the less developed world, but who are still willing to pay more than $8 as US cents a kilowatt hour. It is not uncommon for us to see 11 cents, and this is generally an attractive price. However, what is critical is the transmission line capacity and purchase power agreement from a creditworthy or strategic organization such as a national power authority. We are seeing many opportunities in this sector and when come discussion. For example, I obtained now for one of my solar projects in Morocco, which can produce also hydrogen at a very competitive price, 5 US cents per kilowatt, 5 US cents kilowatt hour.
Okay.
And that is the reason why, some developer with whom I work, they are looking to have solar farms in Morocco or in very sunny countries to do hydrogen, which will be supplied to Swiss transportation companies, or German transportation company, logistic companies.
Okay, thank you. Your second preference seemed to be wind, where you talked about the concern about what happens to birds, but really the industry continues. So, could you give us an outline of what you see the key features are in wind power?
Yes, the attractiveness of wind can be based on well-known wind tunnels around the world. But you are right, wind does not blow the same all the time. Wind like solar is not dependable for base load, but it can be stored and is good for use in the industry, such as the production of steel using the arc process and the production of hydrogen. It too does need an offtake agreement and does need the storage. These together do change the economics.
Okay, thank you. All right. Your third choice was waste to energy, and I must admit it's one of the ones we're seeing a lot of opportunity in around the world.
Yes.
Um, I think it's really many environmentally conscious people are saying it
Mhm,
not just recycles, but it makes sure things don't go into the environment,
mhm,
such as waste plastics. So the projects we're looking
mhm,
at actually capture the waste plastic, and they want it because it gets some part of the oil or petroleum sequence they'll take out.
mhm.
Are you seeing this as an area of opportunity?
Oh, yes, because in the future, waste to energy is crucial for the, the world to be more ecological. But the problem is ensuring that you have a suitable ongoing volume of waste and that the plant can run 24 hours, 7 days, so they can give a constant supply of energy to the grid. Importantly, the waste is stream. There are intermediate products are made, including making biodiesel and capturing gas emission for turning into electricity. What we are seeing in many jurisdictions is that the government is guaranteeing disposal fees, which will ensure that the project remains profitable, as they are not prepared to have the waste buried or exported.
Thank you. One of the topics we have talked about is the manufacturing
Yes.
of hydrogen, and that we see that hydrogen being made from energy is really going to be part of our future. Can you explain
Mhm.
to us why you see hydrogen as so important?
Just apart regarding the waste to energy, I am working with partner, South Korean partner who use, who do the waste to energy. They collect, the waste from toilets, from household in South Korea, and they transform it into pellet to give do uh, the pellets, and they can give, electricity. So they don't use pyrolysis, just to transform this waste into pellets. And they are really solicited by German cities. Some German cities, like Frankfurt or Munich,
Thank
just
you.
just about just
Look, I think we're going to have a number of conversations about hydrogen.
yes,
The
just about.
one area that has specific demands is aviation. Do you have any
Mhm.
thoughts on aviation fuel?
Yes, for example, the production of hydrogen is something that is amazing and clean. In summary, you apply energy to water when it is convenient to do so. Storage is hydrogen or converted hydrogen to ammonia, and it will heat itself and return to water plus energy. Having it understood, the fundamental of the chemistry are simple, and the process is not so, but we do see a huge demand for hydrogen to replace fossil fuel, and for stranded energy production assets to be used to produce hydrogen when the electricity they produce is not in demand. We don't see people wanting less mobility or transporting goods, so we really don't see travel diminishing. But what we do see is it is powered changing. We do see that public transport has led the way, but we do think the private transport and long distance haulage will be attracted by the use of hydrogen rather than fossil fuels. The basic chemistry is well understood. The question now relies on refinishing the application of energy and the amount of energy that is lost between conversion and reconversion is now well understood. The basic chemistry is well understood. The question now relies on refining the application of energy and the amount of energy that is lost between conversion and reconversion. Is now well established that hydrogen can be made for less than 10 US dollar a kilo. And given the $3 a kilo subsidy contained in the Inflation Reduction Act, where you see a strong motivation for transport companies in the United States to lead the way by moving to fueling their vehicles using renewable hydrogen. Just,
Thank you very much for sharing your views with us. Is there anything
just,
else you'd like to add before we finish?
just
Dan,
my
before we finish, is
experience.
there anything you'd like to add?
Just from my experience, 3 years ago, I have been approached by a Greek businesswoman who is who is the partnership of an American founder of a process of hydrogen based in California. This man is the founder of Beverly University. This moment, 3 or 4 years ago, to produce hydrogen, you must build a strong plant and very complicated, process must be done to produce hydrogen, and the plant must be on near the seaside or near the lake because they need water. I'm working now with one partner who works with a Chinese company. You don't need so strong investment because 3 years ago, this investment in a strong plant to produce hydrogen worth more than 1 billion. Now with the mobility, the machine which are very mobile to produce hydrogen and to transport hydrogen, which are made by Chinese companies, you don't need so much investment. Just, I don't know, 200 or 300 millions. And this hydrogen now are sold to Swiss transportation companies as well as to German companies at a very competitive price. We cannot do 3 or 4 years ago because the products which come from the plant cost so
What we've
much
seen across
compared
what
to
we've seen
now.
across the whole energy sector is prices falling. I mean, remember the
Yes.
price of solar was 5 years ago compared to today.
Mhm.
Dan, thank you very much for sharing your insights into what investors are interested in and what drives them in making their investment decision. We look forward to
Mhm.
working with you on projects as diverse as Nepal and Africa, which we are working on the information material for at the moment with you. We're seeing a lot of interest in hydrogen, which we're sharing,
Mhm.
and in
Mhm.
aviation fuel. which for me 3 months ago I hadn't even thought of as a huge industry. So look,
Mhm.
thank you for being with us today, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Paul Raftery, and I'm the CEO of Projects RH. And today I have
Mhm.
been joined by Dang Latitude, a director of Phoenix Universes Limited,
Mhm.
based in London, where she has specific responsibility for major projects and renewable energy. Ladies and gentlemen, goodbye for now.
Bye
Goodbye,
bye.
Dang.
Bye bye.